Start that. Three, two, one. Oh, shit. Wrong button. Welcome, everybody, to Geekvice, episode 242, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph. That man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
We are back for another awesome episode, and we've got a lot of stuff to talk about here, so we are going to jump right into it. But the first thing we're going to start off with is, okay, Kip, what have you done this last week?
Okay, so this is something I forgot to tell you about.
Uh-oh. Oh, shit. We're getting blindsided here, folks. Here we go.
Went axe throwing.
What? No way. That's awesome.
Yep. It was a blast. It was the CrossFit gym my wife works for. It was their holiday party. So went through some axes with a bunch of young in shape CrossFit coaches. And I am proud to say I was pretty freaking awesome at axe throwing.
Yes.
I've never done it before, but suddenly I'm good at it. So I don't know. I must be a natural.
That's awesome. But
it was fun. I highly recommend it.
Did you go to that place north of the river?
It is in the West Bottoms.
Oh, okay.
So it is still south of the river, but it's called Blade and Timber, I think.
Yeah, I've heard about that. There's some people from my work that have done that, but I haven't been part of those groups.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, you need to find a way to get into those groups because it was a blast. Yeah, I had a good time.
Did they serve beer while you were throwing axes?
There's no beer.
Oh, okay. Then that's not the same place that I've heard of, because I've heard of a place that has, they've got a full bar and you get to throw axes, which sounds like a really bad combination, but it also sounds really entertaining.
Yeah, I don't know if they served beer or not. I just drank a water.
Right.
I figured it was probably best if I don't turn into a bull in a china shop while I'm throwing axes.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. So tell me, throwing the axes, were you one of those people that every time you threw it, it stuck perfectly, or did you bounce a few of them?
I think I bounced one or two.
Yeah.
So this is what I expected. I expected it to be like little hatchets, and you would just grab it and throw it.
Yeah.
But it's like halfway in between a hatchet and an axe length.
Oh, really?
And when you get there, they walk you through, of course, the rules, so nobody gets stabbed.
Sure. Yeah.
And then they actually show you how to throw the axe. Okay. Which is not just grab it and throw it. It's actually a two-handed thing above your head.
Okay.
Yeah. And the first few people who practiced in front of me were bouncing that axe all over the place. And finally, after, 5 or 6 tries, they got one to stick.
Right.
So I'm walking up there going, oh boy, here we go. I stuck every one of them.
Just that is awesome.
The only time I bounced them was when I thought, well, I think I'm trying to throw too hard, so I took a little off of it, and then that's when it didn't work.
Okay.
So if I just went up there and just threw it with no regard to how hard I was throwing it, I stuck it every time.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
And they have games almost like darts.
Yeah.
So they didn't have like 501 or 301, but they had cricket. So they have the circles,
Oh,
and it's one, two,
nice.
three, four, and then the bullseye is 6, and then
Okay.
there's like 2 blue dots in the one circle that are worth 5 points.
Okay.
So you got to hit each one of them 3 times to clear it out, which is cricket.
Yeah.
And the first team to do that wins. And so we had it where they matched us up, and then we played, and then the winners played each other.
Right.
And my team went undefeated,
Nice.
and I
Mainly
got the
because of
winning
you, I'm
throw.
sure.
Huh?
Mainly because of you, I'm sure.
Well, I got the winning throw on both our wins. The last game though was hilarious. I think there was a 3-person team, and I think out of the 3 people on my team, I got more than 50% of our marks. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
I went up there and it's like the 2 hardest ones to get are the 1 and the 6. It's hard to
Yeah.
get the bullseye and it's hard to get the outer ring.
Okay.
So the first time I go up, each one of us threw twice and then it moved to the next person. My first time up, both of my throws hit the 6. It's like, yes.
There you
And
go.
then we got it down to, on my last turn, we needed 2 more in the 1. And I nailed them both. It's like, yeah, I rock.
It's like, I'm good at something. All you
Yeah,
CrossFit guys that are all young and in shape, and I'm up here kicking your ass.
something like that. Yeah,
It's got to make you feel good, though, right?
it did. I'm pretty sure if I go back, I'm going to completely suck. But on that night,
Hey,
I was on. I was nailing it. And the place is busy.
really?
There's, I don't know how many lanes. We had 3 reserved,
Mm-hmm.
and there was groups on the 3 when we first got there, and then there was groups waiting on us when we finished.
Oh, wow.
And then all the other lanes, I don't know, maybe there's 10,
Yeah.
were all full. I mean, this place is making some money.
Does it feel like a bowling alley when you walk in?
Oh, not even close.
Oh, okay. Like I didn't know if
Yeah.
they had like axes hanging from stands. You'd be like, oh yeah, I need that one. It's the right weight, you know. Like, oh,
Yeah, you don't have to change your shoes.
I
No.
need the 3 pound axe. Can I get the 3 pound axe?
Yeah. I need one that'll help me with my hook. No,
Yeah,
it
right.
was. No, you walk in and it's what you would expect. Everything is made out of wood.
Right.
Um, it all has that homemade, hand built feel.
Right.
And the cool thing, I guess you would say, or the thing I didn't expect, was when a group got done, they actually tore down the targets and put up new boards for the target.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were like 2x6s or something with, part of the arcs in them, and then they would just screw them up to the wall, and it would
Huh.
make the targets. Yeah, so we got fresh boards. They wet them down, I guess, to soften them,
Uh, that
and
makes
then you go.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was cool. I if you get a chance, do it. I guess it's like $100 an hour. So take a group.
Right.
So so it's cheaper, but
Sure.
per
Sure.
person.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. I
That
enjoyed the heck out of it.
sounds awesome. Yeah, I'm
It
putting that on
was.
my
It was.
list of things to do. So yeah.
Yeah, put that on your bucket list.
There you go. Well, that's awesome. That's not what I was expecting you to bring up after our conversation earlier today. But that works too. I like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you want
yeah.
to
When we
do
were
you want to
talking
talk
earlier, I
about your
completely
purchase?
spaced it. So
I'm putting you on the spot here because I think it's funny that you messaged me as like, "Hey, I want to talk about this."
it's. I should be embarrassed by how excited I was to get this thing, to be honest. And when I got it, I sent like a picture to my mom,
Right? Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I got an Instapot, and
Woo!
I've wanted one for like a month.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard about them, which was like a month ago,
Wait, you
um,
wait a second. You only heard about him a month ago?
I'm old. I don't
Wait,
pay attention to stuff.
like they were like, I'm pretty sure this time last year they were like the hottest item for Christmas.
Well, I've heard of them. I just didn't know the greatness that they were.
Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. You didn't fully appreciate them until about a month ago.
Right. I've heard of like Ninja blenders, but I'm not getting one of
Well,
those.
that yeah, okay.
Um, but I we started talking to people who have them and talking about how awesome they are. People at the gym my wife works at, they were talking about how they just throw even like frozen chicken in them, and like 30 minutes later it's all cooked and ready to go and all this other stuff. We're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh yeah, we need to jump on that bandwagon, and then go home for Thanksgiving to my parents' house, and my mom's got one, and she's bragging it up and all this other stuff. So we have a thing through work through our insurance. It's one of those add-on things that gives you an insurance discount.
Yeah.
You have to do the checkup and all that, and then you earn points by watching videos and
Yep.
exercising and all this stuff. And then you get enough points, we could cash them in for like Amazon gift cards.
Oh, that's cool.
So I had enough points to get a $50 Amazon gift card. So I used it to get an Instant Pot.
Okay, stop right there because I would like this to be noted on December 11th, 2018. Kip got a $50 Amazon gift card and he did not buy a board game. He bought an Instapot.
I know.
I just want to
I'm
put
as
that
surprised as you are.
into perspective for everyone else listening.
I am just as stunned as you. Even considering I have a game that I want to buy. So it wasn't like, oh, I don't know what to get. I'll get this. No, it wasn't that. It was, I could get this game, or
Oh, but I
I
could
could get
get an
this Instapot.
Instapot.
So we got the Instapot Saturday. And of course, we were axe throwing Saturday, so we didn't get to use it. I finally got to use it on Sunday, and I made pot roast, potatoes, and carrots.
Yep.
It was pretty freaking awesome. Pot roast usually takes, what, 3-4 hours?
Oh, yeah, easy.
It took 50 minutes.
I know, isn't that great?
It is freaking awesome. And the whole idea, the whole reason I'm excited about it is I'm tired of eating out.
Yeah.
And we get home from work and it's like, I don't want to cook. You want to cook? No, let's go grab something. Well, with this, you don't really have to feel like cooking. You just throw all the stuff in, you put it on the pressure cooker, set the timer, walk away, come back when it's done.
Yep.
And it's the lazy man's way of eating at home. So
yeah. Well,
that's the whole reason.
And that's the thing that I like about it too is, and we've had one. We got one probably about a year ago, and we've used it quite
You've
a bit.
been holding out on me.
Well, I mean, I didn't know it was something that was in like that you wanted, man.
I didn't either until about a month ago.
Yeah, I just love the fact that kind of like what you said, you can come like, oh, we forgot to lay out chicken. Oh, that doesn't matter. Just take the frozen chicken, throw it in there, fill it, put a little bit of water in it, kick it on, voila, it's done.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to do. It takes minutes to cook things. One of the meals that the kids like a lot is meatloaf. We love meatloaf at this house, but it takes an hour, at least an hour, to bake meatloaf. And that's if we're smart enough to prep it ahead of time, have it in the pan, and all we got to do is throw it in the oven after it's preheated, and it still takes an hour. Well, we're not home for an hour. Like, we don't have that time. So having the Instapot to where, like, in the amount of time that I'm at, while I've got the kids at soccer practice, Amber could throw that stuff in the Instapot, kick it on. By the time I get home from practice, boom, it's done. Like, we're eating, and it's a full meal. Vegetables, meat, you know, everything all done at once. I love, like, we've done roast in there, we've done stew in there, we've done meatloaf, we've done what she made. There was something that she came up with and tried, and it actually turned out really good. And I think it might have actually been like spaghetti and meatballs or something like that that was in there. And that's not something that takes a whole lot of time, but it took even less time in that. It was just like, oh, 5 minutes, we're eating. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
because tonight I made beef stroganoff, and you don't have to boil the noodles.
yeah, yeah,
You just have enough water, or in my case, beef broth.
right.
Throw the noodles in there, pressure cook for 5 minutes. Done.
Yeah. It
It was
it
and the big thing for us. So here's a little glimpse into Kip's life. Before the Instapot, if you opened up our refrigerator, it was like Siberia. There was nothing in there. Maybe a small village where nobody speaks English, but there's no food. Even the coyotes look thin.
yeah,
Now you open up the refrigerator, there's all these containers full of stuff that I've made.
yeah.
So, so I cooked Sunday, I cooked tonight, and still got a bunch of containers of food, so
Yeah. And
I can take my lunches to work. I
right.
can
And
just
that's
reheat something the rest of the week for dinner.
yeah.
So,
That's the nice part is, like Amber now works, 5 minutes from home, so she can come home for lunch and there's stuff in the fridge that she can have for lunch. It's cutting down on the grocery bills because we're not buying like the prepackaged, lunch type things, whether
right,
it's Hot Pockets or whether it's, the lean cuisines or like Hungry Man type stuff. We don't have to buy those, which are overpriced anyway, because we have so many leftovers from different things that we've made that don't take long to make. And yeah, we don't use ours as much as we probably could, uh, but we still use it quite a bit, and it comes in handy. Like I said, the best part is when you get home and you're like, "Oh crap, I forgot to lay something out." Or Amber would use a crock pot a ton, but that was one where in the mornings you had to put it together, and if you didn't put it together that morning, then you didn't have it. Well, with this, it's like using the crock pot, except you don't need to set it up, you know, in the morning. You could get home from work, grab all the stuff out of the freezer, throw it in there, kick it on, and voila, you're good to go. So,
right.
uh,
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked, embarrassingly so. But yeah, it's going to make a big difference for us, I think. And one of my goals. It sounds sad, but I've always been envious of people who can just say, "Oh, this is what I feel like having for dinner tonight," and I know how to make it without looking it up, and I have the stuff.
yeah,
If I'm like even like I think I should make spaghetti tonight, that still entails going to the store and buying the stuff for spaghetti because we don't keep anything on hand.
right,
So
yeah,
that's a goal: is not only have the stuff on hand, but also be able to say, "Oh, I know how to make this already," without having to look it up.
yeah.
I would like a larger repertoire of dishes that I can make. Because
Yeah,
when I cook at home, it's either spaghetti, chili, or breakfast burritos.
you know what? I don't feel so bad because I'm the only other thing I can add to that list is mac and cheese.
Yeah,
But
there
it's
you
got
go.
to be out of the box because I can't do it like from scratch like my wife can. So, you know, I don't have but I'm not a guy who likes being in the kitchen. The only time I like being in the kitchen is if I'm eating. So, uh, I don't like cooking, so that's another reason why I like having this because it makes it easier for makes it easier for me and makes it easier for my wife. And so then if it's easier for her, then I don't have to do it. So,
Exactly. And I
yeah.
like to cook. So I got I went upgraded a little bit to have more settings, and one of them is I can bake a cake in it. So I'm going
Yeah,
to try that.
we have one of those too. My neighbor's actually done that. Like it's almost like a dump cake, and it's really good. It was really good when we
Okay.
had it, so I recommend it.
Yeah. One time I'm going to try a cheesecake and we'll see what
Ooh,
happens.
there you go. That sounds
But I think
good.
you have to have a spring form pan for that. I don't know. I haven't done my research yet,
Yeah, have to track that
but
one down.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So yeah,
there you
even
go.
when we were out with all the CrossFit coaches and stuff, I was bragging about my Instapot. So it's a sickness, an obsession, really.
That's all
But
right.
we actually own one now, and we'll see how long this adrenaline rush from having an Instapot lasts.
Right. Yeah, new things always get used a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I got to throw out there that you purchased an Instapot, and when axe throwing, I went and saw a movie over this last weekend.
I know, and that's as surprising as me buying an Instapot,
Yeah,
really.
it really kind of is. I wish I would have started keeping track, as maybe somebody who's listening can go back through all the episodes from 2018 and look and see, count up how many times I actually went to the movie theater because I feel like I've gone a lot more this year than I ever have. Um, but before we get into what I did see, I've also already purchased tickets for another movie this year, and that's I'm gonna go December 26th to go see the new Bumblebee movie. So looking forward to that. Already have our tickets purchased. We don't have the popcorn and drinks purchased yet, but that's the other thing that I really like, which we did when we went and saw Illumination's The Grinch, and I this was a really fun movie. Um, there's two reasons why now that I've figured out that we can go see movies is one, if you use like the AMC app or whatever, you can pre-purchase food and drink and candy and all that stuff, and they have it waiting for you in a bag, and all you got to do is go pick it up and walk out. You don't even have you can prepay and everything, so you don't have to stand in line. You don't have to wait for some dumbass in front of you to decide what he's going to order, and you don't have to like deal with the crowd. So you can just go in, grab it, and walk out. I love that. And two, we found out that if you go see a movie before like noon on a weekend, it's only $5. So we went at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning and watched The Grinch, and for four of us, it was $20. That's like, it cost me,
that
it's normally $20 just for me to go to the movies. Like, $20 for all four of us. That was awesome. So I recommend that if you're like me and don't like crowds and don't like having to fork over, like, cut your right arm off in order to pay for movie tickets and concessions. I recommend going really early on the weekends. So, um, but anyway, to the movie itself, Illumination is the Grinch. These are the Illumination is the creators of the Minions and Despicable Me, those movies, and you can feel it from the moment it starts that this is that animation group. The animation's very similar, um, but really good, really well done. It was a fun movie. I was entertained the entire time. I didn't get bored with it. And I would say this movie was, unlike Jim Carrey's The Grinch, this movie I felt was the perfect mix of a new story with the original story. Because
nice.
I don't know if you knew this, but the original Grinch movie, the animated one, is only 30 minutes long. It's 26 minutes. That's
Yeah.
it. it's not long. It's not long enough to put into a theater, and I didn't realize that until when we were looking at movies, looking at all our Christmas movies that we had, and that's one of them. And we're like, oh, hey, that's less than 30 minutes for that movie. And so we're like, well, that kind of explains why it was so difficult for the Jim Carrey one, and why I think the Jim Carrey one was as bad as it was. Um, is that they had to, in order to get the story, you can't really use the original story. You have to add to it because you can't put a 30-minute movie in the theater. That doesn't work. That's not cost effective.
Yeah, unless there's an elaborate sex scene, you got nothing to take up time.
Yeah, exactly. So this one was a really good. There was no elaborate sex scene in this. Let's just put that there. Um,
That's a bummer.
this was a really good story, and it used characters that you knew from the original one. So obviously you have the Grinch as the main character, and the Who's are the other main characters. The town itself, Whoville, was really well done. But then they also created they used the Cindy Lou Who character that is the if you remember the original movie, she's the one who wakes up and sees the Grinch.
Right.
Um, they use that character and develop that character and who she is and her family, and it worked really well. Um, I was really, I was pleasantly surprised. I had heard the movie was good, but I didn't, I wasn't sure if, it was really good or if it was just because the Jim Carrey's movie left such a bad taste in everyone's mouth that this movie was better than that. And I would say that this movie is definitely worth watching. This is a movie that's definitely worth adding to your Christmas movie collection when it comes out on DVD.
Did it have
Um,
singing?
yes, yes, but no.
Yes, but no. What does
It
that mean?
it has it doesn't have any extra songs than what were in the original one. So you still have the mean one, Mr. Grinch song in it. Um,
The one where they hold hands around the Christmas tree?
yeah, and you have that song at the end, but that's it. There's no extra songs. You get a little bit more. They spend a little bit more time on the Grinch and his backstory, which was never developed. You never really understand why hates Christmas. They give you a reason for him to hate Christmas, which I thought was really well done.
Okay.
They show you that the Who's know who the Grinch is, um, even though like he hates Christmas. Like it's not Christmas year round. It's just Christmas for the month of December. And so he still has to go to Whoville to buy groceries and get things and take it back up to his cave. And so the Who's know who he is. He's just the grouchy old man that comes into the store, like comes into the store type thing. And so it's it is really really well organized. It's really laid out. The Cindy Lou character on her kind of family. It's a well, I would say it's a broken home, but it's not really a broken home. There's no. It's just a mom, Cindy Lou, and two twin boys that are like in the infant to toddler age. And Cindy Lou seems to be like a elementary school age type, or maybe middle school. Is kind of hard to tell, but old enough to be able to go out on her own and hang out with her friends, but old enough to think coherently and problem solve and to understand world situations because it's you know it you get to see that Cindy Lou's mom is, is a single mom working nights to take care of the family during the day, always busy, type thing, and that kind of helps with solving or you know with the Christmas wish from Cindy Lou, and it also gives her a good reason on why she's trying to. It's not just an accident that she finds Santa Claus when the Grinch is or finds the Grinch stealing all the stuff. It's not like in the original movie where it's an accident she comes down. There's a reason that she finds him and catches him, and that's really well done. It's really thought out. There's nothing original in this. Like, don't think there's some breathtaking originality to the concepts and the tropes. They're standard Christmas story tropes. You know, um,
Which
I,
what you would expect.
yeah, which I think actually works better because there's not something brand new story like curveball they're trying to throw in. It's just very standard, straightforward. You could take out the Grinch and take out the Who's and put them in a different situation, like put different characters in there and turn it, and you could have this same story being told as you know just in New York City or you know whatever you wanted to do. What makes it the Dr. Seuss type stuff is the fun, crazy, zany, wild things like a Christmas tree that's like 70 feet tall, and the crazy gadgets that the Grinch comes up with to steal all the stuff. All the Christmas stuff is really cool. That's actually fun when he's going through stealing all the stuff. It's fun to watch and um, really, really kind of neat. So I recommend it. Go see the movie if you like the
Yeah, I don't
original one.
think I'll be seeing it in the theaters, but I bet I'll catch it one day.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, I like I said, this is not an earth shattering like you have to go run out and see this in the theater. If you don't go see it this year, get it next year and watch it next year for Christmas because it'll be it's coming. I will guarantee you it's going to come out on DVD. It's going to be on Netflix next year around Christmas time, and it's a lot of fun. So I recommend it.
Very cool.
And just a quick side note too, if you're on Netflix and you want to watch a Christmas story uh, that's fun and entertaining, you should check out Kurt Russell's Christmas Chronicles.
I've heard people say that already. I
Yeah, yeah,
I
we've
may have
watched.
to dive in.
Yeah, we've watched that one, and it was a blast. It is fun. It is. Think of it as Shrek level humor in a Christmas movie. So
Sweet.
it's got things that he says and things he does that like Amber and I are laughing our asses off at, and the kids are completely oblivious to it. But yet there's fun stuff in there for them too. So
Nice.
well done too. But so there we go. That's what we've got there. Now I think it's on to the more important thing.
Yeah, something that more ties into the T-shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, the Captain America. I wore this one today instead of my Flash one. I thought about wearing Flash, and then I was like, nope, nope. Today we're talking about the new Avengers trailer, and by golly, I'm gonna wear Captain America. So
I think that's a good idea because if go back and look at our thumbnails for the last 4 episodes, and you'll
okay.
notice that the shirt I have on right now, I have on in all those
Did
episodes.
you really? I've actually been wondering that. Like, I'm like, oh shit, am I wearing the same shirts like over and over again? Because I have, we do laundry enough that the shirts that I wear get put back on the top of the drawer, and I'm not one of those that digs for clothes. I take whatever's on top and put it on. So, um,
Yeah, I've got like 5 or 6 work shirts that I just cycle through every week, and
Yeah.
it just happens every night we record. Even if it's a Wednesday or a Tuesday, I'm wearing this shirt.
That's funny. That is funny. I'm gonna
So
have to.
next time,
No blue shirt.
I don't know. I may just have to dig one out of
Yeah, you're gonna have
a
to like.
drawer or something and just wear that just to make sure it's something I haven't worn to work.
You're gonna
And
wear a sweater or something. It's gonna be like an ugly Christmas sweater.
I want one of those. I don't have one.
That's awesome. Oh man. Amber's got one that lights up. So it's
You
got,
have to have one that lights
yeah,
up.
it's got batteries and the lights flicker and flash and they're actually like blinding and kind of hurt my eyes when they go off. So um anyway, enough of this. Let's get back to Avengers. So the movie title is Avengers Endgame. You're going to see it in the trailer. We're going to play the trailer right down here below here in just a minute. But yeah, well, you know what? Let's just do that and then we'll talk about it. How about that? We can
Okay.
and we can talk we can talk through it too cuz I have a few things that I might point some things out while we're going through it like, "Hey, what's going on here?" So, all right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Avengers trailer starting now. So the first thing I see is this helmet.
This thing on?
He didn't have a
Another thing
helmet.
I see is you.
Oh
Hey, Miss
shit!
Potts.
I should probably fix that.
If you find this recording,
There.
don't
Oh,
feel
I
bad
see
about
it now.
this. Part of the journey is the end.
Yeah. So you start off with
Just for the record, being
Tony
adrift
Stark
in space
talking
with
into a
zero
helmet.
promise
He didn't
of
have a helmet.
rescue is more fun than it sounds. Food and water ran out 4 days ago. Oxygen will run out tomorrow morning. That'll be it. When I drift off, I will dream about you. It's always you.
Yeah, that's an awesome
Thanos
awesome
did
thing.
exactly what he said he was going to do. He wiped out
Yeah.
50% of all living creatures.
This is interesting here.
We lost. All of us.
There's
We lost
Nebula.
friends. We lost family.
Here's the important part.
We
Ronan.
lost a part
Yep.
of ourselves.
Gotta love. Your wife's gotta
This
be
is the
excited
fight of our
Jeremy Renner's
lives.
back.
Well,
This is going to work.
can you
Steve.
pause it?
I know
No.
it is.
Oh.
Because I don't know what I'm going to do if it doesn't.
My guess on Jeremy Renner and Ronan is the 50% wiped his family out.
Yep.
He's pissed.
Yep. I think you're absolutely right. I
And
love
also
this.
telling that the Avengers logo was moved back to the
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, is anyone home? This is Scott Lang. We
And then,
met
of
a
course,
few
this
years
is the
ago
best part
at the
right here.
airport in Germany. I got really big.
Is this an old message?
Ant-Man, I know you know. I know you know that.
It's the front door.
That's me. Can you buzz me in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, no Fandango, sorry. Um yeah, that's I wish I don't have as much control when I play it in here. I still am working on some of the control stuff for that, but yeah, I love that trailer. That trailer is really good, but there are some things that bring up some questions, like, and we'll probably take this a little bit out of order, but I want to start with Tony Stark talking into a helmet.
Okay.
In Infinity War, he didn't have a helmet. He didn't have armor that he could take off. It was nano, like, so it just grew around him. There was one point where he did have a helmet or I guess he had the helmet over his face. Thanos rips it off and he goes to punch him in the face and it immediately like grows back in front of him. um, it's like, so there's not like a helmet that he takes off, which brings up the question. I'm wondering if maybe that part of the trailer is not going to be in the movie. That is specifically for this trailer to set the tone of dystopia, of the, it's bad, it's bleak, within the trailer itself. Because there's other ways that they can make a movie feel that way without having that specific sequence.
Well, the thing that struck me about that is, yeah, the whole feeling of hopelessness and all that other stuff, but yeah, it's a message to Pepper Potts,
Mm-hmm.
and it's he says, when I'll dream about you, it's always you.
Yeah.
It's big relationship stuff there,
Yeah.
but I never felt like he felt that way about her in any other movies.
They've tried. So I think they've tried to. Um, Tony Stark is a playboy. I mean, it's no
Right.
ifs, ands, or buts about it. Tony Stark's a playboy. But I think they've tried to, through the movies, to just give that little bit, like there's something different about Pepper Potts. The way Tony Stark feels about Pepper Potts compared to every other girl that comes in and out of his life. And, I think they've done. I think if you go back and rewatch the very first Iron Man, you will go back and go, oh yeah, okay, maybe here's where those little hints are. Um,
Well,
Knowing the
yeah,
way it
when he
goes
gets
out.
jealous of Agent Coulson there,
Yeah,
in the first movie, I get that, but I I'm not criticizing it. I just never felt
sure.
like Tony was capable of that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think it's a big deal that he could.
yes. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Something else that's I've watched and read some other things where people have pulled out Easter eggs, and I think they might be stretching a little bit here. But he talks about a rescue when he's talking to the helmet in the comic books. When Pepper Potts puts on the Iron Man uh, armor, she goes by the code name of Rescue. There's some talks that
Oh,
maybe that is like, him hoping that she would put on the the armor and come find him. I I don't know. Like, that to me seems a little far fetched. The other thing, kind of jumping out of order here a little bit, is later on you see Nebula standing like on the ship, on a ship. The assumption is that she is on the same ship with Tony Stark. Those were the only two left on, like, battling, like, left on that
uh,
planet.
okay. I just assumed she was on the Murano.
Well, and that's the assumption. Well, I think that's what they're thinking. That's where Tony Stark is too.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
So that they're both on the Guardian of the Galaxy ship that they took to go fight Thanos in space, like on Titan, and so Nebula being more robot than human, it brings up some questions. Like, one, are they on the Guardian ship, and why is it not like functional to be able to get them? Is this a When is this? Is this like Tony Stark and Nebula trying to get back from Titan back to Earth? And what's wrong with the ship that it's not able to get back? Because it didn't take them long to get there in the first place. We've seen that ship do like light jumps or whatever you want to call it, travel at light speed and get different places. So why can't it get back? And if Nebula is not affected by you know, the lack of oxygen and the running out of food, why can't she fly the ship? I don't know. Um, I don't know. It brings up some questions, and it could be that, honestly, it could be that none of that stuff is actually true, and that's just our assumptions to the trailer. One of the nice things about this trailer is that it gives us really nothing, but still is intriguing all in of itself. A little bit,
Well, I think they can't give us anything because it was such a major cliffhanger
yeah,
that anything they give us will give something away.
yeah. Well, and
And,
they already gave us some big stuff at the end, which we'll get to here in a minute. Because the Ant-Man thing to me is huge.
yeah, it is
Um,
huge.
but so the other one of the other scenes that I saw that kind of got brought up, and I thought it was really good that they put it in the trailer, was the Scarecrow that had Thanos' armor on it. That is a straight out shot from the Infinity War comic book. From
Oh, really? Okay.
that is a specific panel in the comic book after he snaps his fingers and half the world goes away and he has his Titan back and he's a farmer again. He's given up um, his warring ways. He does that in the comic books as well. So I thought that was really cool. Um, you had brought up with Ronan the that you think that Clint kind of lost his family and that's how he turned to Ronan. I think you're right on that, and I think the voiceover when it does that right before you see Ronan, it said Captain America says we've lost family, and then you see Ronan. I think that was done on
Yeah.
purpose to lead you to that mindset. Um, I thought that was great. I mean, the voiceovers, the way they did those were awesome. Um, the I also liked the scene. I thought it was really important when you see Ronan standing over the bodies and cleaning his blade, and he takes the mask off or the hood back, and you see Black Widow standing in there with that look of shock on her face. To me, I thought it was telling in two different ways. One, it was the look of shock and the fact that Clint has gone that far the other direction from what he was, because Clint was her kind of moral compass in the earlier movies. That's kind of the way I felt. Um,
Yeah, I agree with that.
and but then the other part of it was I feel like part of this movie is going to be them trying to find people, and kind of goes to that part where they're looking at the screen and they've got Scott Lang and he's missing, and then they over to the side of Scott Lang you see Shuri from Black Panther's sister, the tech expert.
Right.
She's on there. I don't know if is she missing, is she dead, we don't know. We didn't see her get dissolved in the snap of the finger, so the assumption is she's still alive, but maybe this is a list of people they're trying to find that they haven't confirmed dead or, you know, um, disappeared per se. But then also the other face that switches on from Shuri is Spider-Man, and we know he didn't disappear. He's on the ship, so the three people that they showed there are three people that we did not see either in the movie in Ant-Man, or we did not see get blown to dust in Spider-Man or Shuri.
We
But
saw Spider-Man turn to
did
dust.
Spider-Man turn to dust? Did I forget
Yeah,
that one?
in Tony Stark's arms.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, that ruins that idea. I was hoping that.
And it could be some of them they're just assumed
Yeah,
turn to dust because they can't get a hold of them.
yeah.
And I'm
Well,
wondering if Clint isn't one of those people.
yeah, and I think that's why they're gonna go out and be looking for people, which I think is going to um end up with, some going around and talking to people, some mourning and that kind of stuff in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other, you had mentioned it during the movie, the title sequence, the title with the A coming together. I thought that was really good. I think that's very telling.
Yeah, I do too.
Something else, and I can't take credit for this because I didn't really think about it until I was listening to somebody else talk about it, was that A, when you look at it at the end, it's together and you can tell it's an A, but it has holes missing out of it. Kind of with this idea that what Thanos did can be fixed, but not completely undone.
Gotcha.
So I have a feeling there are going to be some losses that don't come back when they try to reverse this.
And I wonder if Tony isn't one of them.
I,
I wonder if he doesn't make like the ultimate sacrifice to make sure the plan goes through.
I think you're probably right. He's getting to the point where I'm not sure that he can keep playing Tony Stark, and I mean, this could be the same thing with Cap too.
Yeah, but with Tony Stark, they've really gone out of their way to have him play that he's just tired.
Yeah.
He's tired of fighting. He's tired of being Iron Man. He's just done. But he keeps fighting because it's the thing you got to do.
Yeah.
So I think if a moment comes in time where we can win, but it costs him, I think he's good with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's just that tired.
I could see that. I could see that. Now on to probably the most interesting scene that opens up the most questions. Scott Lang showing up on the video there at the end. One is hilarious, and Paul Rudd is amazing, and I can't wait to see him in this movie.
Hey, he's a Kansas City boy. Of course he's amazing.
Yeah. One, I want to see how he got out. Well, and you don't even know this because you haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp yet, have you?
No, I'm a bad person.
So you should watch that movie so that you can see the end and find out why it is so amazing that Scott Lang is there. Because Scott Lang does not exist at the end of... Well, he exists, but he's stuck in the quantum realm.
Yeah. I know that. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah. So...
But I've made a promise to myself that we will see Ant-Man and Wasp before we see Avengers.
I think that's probably a good call. There you go. So that's one of the things that's interesting. The other second thing that I noticed the first time I watched the trailer, and there's been speculations on this, but in watching the trailer, if you stop it on the scene where Ant-Man is there, you look up in the upper left-hand corner of the display, and it says Archive, which leads to assume that this is old footage and not present day.
It really did say Archive. I did not notice that.
Go watch it again, and yeah, you will see Archive up there. Now, there are people that are speculating that just to the left of Archive there's a date, and they think that it says 1983. I have a hard time, like, I can kind of see it, but maybe not, I don't, but I'll just go with the fact that it says Archive. Usually live feeds don't say Archive. The other thing that makes me think that this is in the past of some sort, look at the door, the front door of the building that Scott Lang is standing in front of. This is supposed to be the Avengers Tower filled with Stark tech, and that door looks like it's locked with a rusty chain and a rusty lock.
Well, there's that, and there's the van.
Well, but that's Scott Lang's van. Like, that's what he had in the Ant-Man movie too.
Oh, he drove an old conversion van,
Yeah,
and
that was
I guess
their.
I need to see this movie.
You need to go watch the movie. So that van is normal. That's a normal van. That is his company vehicle. Um, and so that aside, the everything else leads me to think. I mean, if you had a Stark building that's filled with Stark tech, where they can just walk into rooms and doors open, and you have touch screen monitors that are floating in space that they can just whip things around and do what they want, I'm pretty sure
Right.
the door wouldn't be locked with a chain. It would have something else it would have something magical that you can't see, something super fancy electronic lock. It wouldn't be some deadbolt, or some padlock and chain like you could get at the hardware store. That to me makes it think that it's in the past. The other reason for that being that in the very first Ant-Man movie, when Scott Lang is going to steal something from an old Stark facility to help Hank Pym in his endeavors, that's when he deals with the Falcon, and he finds out that's the Avenger, like an Avengers building. And I think that's the same building. So makes me think that there's some connection here. And I think that might be how I I don't know. I'm reaching out here. I think if that is a past video of Scott Lang, he goes back in time dealing with time vortexes from the quantum realm, which you learn about in the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. Um, he goes back in time, and I think that's where the connection to Captain Marvel comes in, because the Captain Marvel movies take place in the 80s.
Well, the whole in this for me is when he's wanting them to buzz him in.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "You remember me from Germany at the airport?"
Yeah.
Nobody would know that reference in 1983.
Nope. Which is also why he probably didn't get in. But he
So
doesn't know that.
you don't think he knows what year it is? Maybe.
Possibly. Or honestly, it could just be that, and maybe it's, I don't know. It could be. It could be that he's completely oblivious to the fact that it's 1983 and he just got out of the quantum realm, jumped in his van and drove to where he, found out nobody's there because Janet Van Dyne and Hank Pym disappear. They turn to ash and dust at the end of the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. Spoiler. Sorry. That's a post-credit scene, and I'm sorry, that movie's out on DVD now, so if you haven't seen it, you're worse than
My
this guy.
fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally you tell people it's a spoiler before you say it, but
Yeah.
hey.
Well, I didn't think about it until after I said it, but yeah, that's a post-credit scene. It's not part of the story itself. They make it through the whole movie. It's just the post-credit scene, which tells me that the post-credit scene takes place, like that part of that. There's a reason why Scott Lang and Hank Pym and the Wasp and Ant-Man were not part of Infinity War movie, because they were dealing with this. So,
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. I love this trailer. I think the best part is the fact that it comes out in April. And I have seen April 26th as the date. I don't know if that's the exact date, but sounds like a good date to me.
Sure.
But it's going to be April. So, I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready for it. I want to see it. What do you think, to kind of wrap this all up, because we've gone on long enough, what do you think about the title Endgame?
It's kind of sad because what it actually could mean. And I think that just means it's the end of this phase.
Yeah. Could be the end
And
of the Avengers as we know it. It could be honestly, it could be the end of Thanos. It could be the end of this major conflict. Could be end of the world as we know it, and it changes quite a bit.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
there's lots of options. It could also mean that this is the end of the Avengers movies, and that this is the last Avengers movie that they make, and they'll make they'll call it something else if they make another team up movie.
Yeah, it has many ways it could go. Um, it just has that whole end of an era feeling, so it's a little bit of a bummer, but it's also like, well, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
It's like finishing a video game.
yeah,
You work your butt off to get to the end of the video game, you finish the final battle, and there's that moment of like, dang, I should have stretched that out a little longer.
yeah,
I think that's the way this is going to feel when it's all said and done. It's like, man, I wish they could have stretched that into one more movie.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely possible. I know that, and I have to look. I need to go back and look and see the different movies that are coming out and what they've announced and when they're scheduled, because I know we're looking at a new Spider-Man movie, um, but I don't know when the date is compared to when this is gonna come. When this is gonna release. So I'd like to kind of look at the timing and scheduling of it and see if maybe that can tell us some things. But yeah, I don't know. Um, I'm just really I'm liking what they've done. I'm liking the story that they're telling, and I'm liking that they're taking their time with it.
Yeah.
They could have tried to squeeze this entire story, this Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet story into a single movie, and they didn't. And I like it. And I like that they're not making us wait like 3 years to see the in-game movie.
So, do you know anything about the Eternals?
I know a little bit. Those are the celestial beings that are kind of I think they are considered the creators of the universe type. There's several of them, but
So, on ScreenRant.com, they have the MCU Phase 4 movies in development.
uh-huh.
Spider-Man Far From Home,
Yeah.
which we already knew about. The Black Widow movie, which we already knew about. And then it has the Eternals. And it doesn't say anything about what characters. And then it has Black Panther 2.
Oh, wait, okay, just Google searched Wikipedia here. The Eternals are a fictional race of humanity appearing in American comic book published by Marvel Comics. Described as an offshoot of the evolutionary process that created sentient life on Earth. So this is kind of yes, so this does deal with the Celestials, which is what I was thinking. The Celestials almost kind of sounds like created the Eternals to be the defenders of Earth, which lead to the inevitability of war against their destructive counterparts, the Deviants. The Eternals were created by Jack Kirby and made their first appearance in the Eternals #1, July 1976.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see like if they have. It looks like a team up type thing, like a group of them, but
It does. Yeah, I was hoping to get a little more, but Screen Rant doesn't have a bunch. They also mention a Shang-Chi movie.
Now Shang-Chi, that. If I remember right, Shang-Chi is tied to Iron Fist. I think one of like a predecessor to Iron Fist, but I could be wrong there. Don't quote me on that.
It could be because the T-shirt or the shirt the guy's wearing, it's not Iron Fist's logo, but the art is kind of the same style for his logo on his shirt. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's yeah, I want to say it has something to do with similar concept to Iron Fist. But yeah, that's not. I know of the name, but that's about it.
well, according to this, it was created in the early 70s by Steve Englehart, and he's known as the master of Kung Fu.
Yes.
It doesn't say anything about Iron Fist.
Maybe, yeah, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's just another one of those kung fu characters that I just decided to lump in with Iron
It
Fist.
says he's based off kind of loosely on Bruce Lee.
Okay. Yeah. So well, there's those.
It does feel like Phase 4, other than Guardians 3 and Black Panther 2 and Black Widow. It does sound like there's a definite change in direction with the Eternals and Shang-Chi.
Yeah. Different type group, but I mean, you never know. We'll get through this and see what comes out of it. So yeah. You got to give them some credit because they've built up enough with what they've done this far that even if they're going to throw you something out that you've never heard of, like the Eternals or Shang-Chi, you're gonna want to see it because it's probably going to be good. So.
This is true, because I was pretty ignorant going into the MCU on some things, and I enjoyed the ride.
Yeah. Agreed, sir. All right. Well, let's put a pin in that. We will be back next week for another episode, and we're getting close to the Christmas time, so there might be some shifts to the schedule, but we'll still have shows out there for you guys to check out, and until then, you can check out our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/geekvice. You follow us on Twitter, that man over there, at Kip Killigan. You can follow me at Geekvice. And, of course, as always, you can reach us by email at geekvice@gmail.com. Thanks, everyone, for listening to our ramblings, and we will see you next time.
Later.
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.